Cruise news time. Hurricane Fiona continues to impact cruises. Disney Cruise Line, they're looking for some specially skilled people to work on their cruise ship. Do you have special skills? The Port of Tampa Bay announcing price increases on, well, almost everything, including cruise parking. And I got a fantastical story for you about a man who missed the cruise ship on purpose and got arrested. It's a crazy story. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for Wednesday, September the 21st, 2022. Cruise news story number one, Hurricane Fiona continues to impact cruises. We talked in the show yesterday about Fiona wreaking havoc in Puerto Rico and making her way north. Yesterday, Hurricane Fiona hit Turks and Caicos, causing a lot of disruption there. And as that storm continues to churn north, cruise lines are altering their itinerary. Let me run down the cruises that have been impacted. Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas, scheduled to visit St. Thomas and St. Martin, has moved west, will now visit Costa Maya and Cozumel instead. The Carnival Legend was sailing an 8-day cruise from Baltimore, scheduled to go to Grand Turk, and will instead visit Nassau on Wednesday. The Legend will not go to Amber Cove in the Dominican Republic on Thursday, but will reroute to Bimini in the Bahamas, and the ship will return to Baltimore as scheduled on Saturday. Carnival Freedom also altering its ports on a 5-day voyage from Port Canaveral that was supposed to visit Grand Turk on Tuesday, but will instead go to Freeport in the Bahamas on Wednesday. The ship will stay on schedule, returning to Port Canaveral on Thursday. Norwegian Cruise Line cruises scheduled to go to the Eastern Caribbean also changing their itineraries. Cruises that were set to leave Miami and go to St. Thomas, Tortola, Great Stirrup Key will now be rerouted, going to Costa Maya, Roatan, Harvest Key, and Belize. Virgin Voyages also rerouting the Scarlet Lady. Instead of going to Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic, they will now go to Costa Maya, Mexico. Hurricane Fiona continues to churn north with a trajectory that has her in Canada in the next couple days in the Maritimes, where, well, that's where I'll be. So it's going to be interesting to see if my cruise is impacted by this storm. And certainly there are a lot of people that have been impacted over the last few days, not only cruisers, but obviously people on those islands dealing with the disruption of the hurricane and the chaos of the hurricane. Sending positive thoughts to those folks. Hopefully they're able to get back to business and get back to living life as quick as possible. Cruise news story number two, the House of Mouse that sails the sea looking for specialty skilled people to work on their cruise ships. They're looking for photographers and sous chefs, a chef de partie, a chef de cuisine, a junior sous chef, public health officer, automation engineer, a general technician shipwide, an LNG engineer, an automation engineer, an electrical engineer, a costume cosmetology technician, a youth activities counselor, and a senior technician at the Walt Disney Theater. Do you have any of those skills on your resume? Do you prefer chicken broth or consomme? Either way, if you've ever had any aspirations of working on a Disney cruise ship and you have one of those special skills and you have 4 to 6 months of your life to give up for a contract to do it, Disney Cruise Line is looking for you. It raises a great question. If you were going to work on a cruise ship, what job would you like to have? Obviously, I would like to have the job of an entertainer that only works like 3 days out of a 7-day cruise. That's the best case scenario. My dad said, when you go to work, you want to do the least work for the most money possible, while your employer is trying to get you to do the most work for the least money possible. And it's how well you navigate that relationship that could make your happiness or your sadness. What cruise ship job would you like to have if you were going to be on a cruise ship for the next 4 to 6 months? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 3, the Port of Tampa has gotten the approval to raise tariffs on 13 items. 13 tariff item hikes. It's a baker's dozen of tariff hikes and it's terrifying. It's terrifying. The ones that really impact the cruisers is they're going to be charging more for parking at the port of Tampa. Parking will be going up from $15 per day per car to $15.75 per day per car. And for buses or RVs, it will be going from $30 a day to $31.50 a day. Also an increase in the passenger wharfage rate, which I believe that's what the cruise lines have to pay to the port for the amount of passengers that are on board, going from $8 per passenger to $8.50 per passenger. And then there's also going to be an increase in the cruise ship dockage fee by 5%. It's not surprising in this time of economic recovery, post-pandemic, post-shutdown, that businesses are now trying to recoup some of the losses. And it's an easy story to tell. Look, we haven't raised our parking in 3 years. We haven't raised our wharfage fees in 3 years. We haven't raised our dockage fee in 3 years. Time to pay the piper. Time to pay a little more. I used to didn't park at the port primarily because of the price. It was always cheaper to stay on a satellite spot with a shuttle over. But I tell you what, recently I feel like the convenience of jumping off the cruise ship, immediately getting in the car and getting on the road has outweighed the waiting on the shuttle for me, just the few extra dollars that it costs. Do you normally park at the cruise port, or do you take a shuttle over? That's probably only for people that are driving, and obviously if you're flying, you're going to have to get to the cruise port through some sort of shuttle or taxi, something like that. But if you are a cruise driver, if you're driving to the cruise port, are you parking at the port? Are you parking satellite? Leave a comment below. Now it's time to recount the crazy tale of the man who missed the cruise ship on purpose and got arrested. I'm going to tell you all about that, but first, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes, and you get to be a part of the Loca fam. How about that? How would you like to have that moniker? How would you like to have that title on your resume? Loca fam, baby. Yeah, all you gotta do is hit the subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It just lets YouTube know that you want to be notified when the new videos come out, when the new show comes out, and it helps us get the word out to more people. So if you like what I'm doing, tell a friend. And an easy way to do that is just subscribing, and YouTube will tell a friend. Thank you in advance. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to September the 15th, just last week, when Royal Caribbean's Liberty of the Seas made port in Belize. There was a gentleman on board who his whole goal was to get to Belize but not get back on the cruise ship. I think you know the way that cruising works. When you get off at a port, the goal is for you to get back on. There are agreements between the cruise lines and the local ports that the people that get off the cruise ship will get back on the cruise ship unless by some circumstance they miss the cruise ship on accident. If you are on purpose missing the cruise ship, well, then that's when you can get in trouble. The gentleman disembarked in Belize with no intention of getting back on the cruise ship. The cruise ship left, and when they counted up all of the passengers, they noticed that this guy was gone. They notified the local officials in Belize, and a manhunt began. And they found the guy getting his hair braided. He was immediately arrested and charged $1,000 for missing the cruise ship. Now you may be wondering, why did this guy not get back on the cruise ship? Well, he did it for love. He explained to the court there in Belize that back in 2016, he was there. He met a woman on the island. He fell in love with the woman, and he's been trying ever since to get back. Once he got back to the United States, his passport was lost, and the only way that he knew to get to Belize was to use his birth certificate to go to Belize and to just stay there and seek out the woman. Now, I don't know if they were reunited and it felt so good, but this story is kind of weak, right? He's had 2 years. He lost his passport. He obviously could have got his passport renewed in the time of the shutdown. So and I don't think he found the woman. So look, I know people do crazy things for love, and I know people do crazy things for lust. But yeah, either way, he's going to get deported. They charged him the $1,000 fine. They immediately filed to have him removed from the island. And yeah, how about that? It's kind of crazy. Let me throw the question over to you. Would you risk it for the biscuit? Have you done anything slightly illegal for the sake of love? Man, leave a comment below. If there's a crazy for love, risk it for the biscuit story, I will try to highlight it on tomorrow's show. Boom, that is your cruise news and my views. Time for you to sound off on any and all of it. Thanks so much for checking out the show today. I sure hope you enjoyed it. You can show that you enjoyed it by hitting the like button. And unfortunately, if you do not hit the like button, I will be forced to punish you, and your punishment will be this. You will be required to work on a Disney cruise ship for the next 6 months dressed as Pluto. I was going to say Chip and Dale, but some people have that whole Chip and Dale fantasy. So Pluto, that's what you'll have to be if you do not hit the like button. You can save yourself that costume. I was a costume performer one time, never at Disney. You can save yourself that costume performer anxiety by hitting the like button. This is Tony for Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Au revoir. Bye-bye.